And my fellow Africans, as usual, it is Dominic Young Pan-Africanist. Today I would like to talk about the root causes of labors in Africa. These labors, first of all, it is the group of people who don't agree with the governance of the country, of the nation, which decided to group themselves and join the bush to fight or to against the government. Today I want to talk about the causes, the root causes of that misunderstanding between government and the citizen. As you know, in Africa we have a lot of labors, more than 16 on our continent. And each country have almost that group of people. So now, today I want to talk about what is the major causes of that labors in our continent. When I go beyond that, first of all, I should say that the colonial legacy is among the causes of that labors in Africa, such as where you find people fight because of the colonial legacy. You find people belong in some countries where they were not supposed to be. Let me say that you know that Africa were divided, not by us, by our master colonialists. So you find people fighting because of that. So people have labors based on that issue of colonial legacy. These Europeans mostly, they left us in conflicts because of division of our continent. As I normally say, Africa was divided as it was like the cake on the table. They divided us, everyone took his part. So because of that, colonial legacy left us with conflicts in this continent. Secondly, which is the major causes of labors in Africa, it is ethnic and tribalism. This tribalism contributed a lot in labors in Africa, such as in most of our countries, we have labors going in the Republic Democratic of Congo, in Central Africa, in Sudan, in Somalia, Shabab. But when you look about the root causes of that, mostly it is ethnic and tribalism. Let me talk about Republic Democratic of Congo, where we have more than 120 labors in Eastern Congo. But can you ask yourself, what is the major causes? What is called war? What is war between all those people? On my view, I realized that the major causes of that, it is tribalism. Can you ask yourself who planted that seed in the citizens of tribalism? I realized that also politics, which is taking place in their country, also contributed on that. Now, people are no longer in their properties, people are no longer in their country, people are stateless, people are fatherless, children have no parents because of that major causes. When you go in that country, Republic Democratic of Congo, in Eastern, you know that since 2017, I think up to now, war is taking place in that place. Do you know why number of refugees is increasing, is rising up in our continent? Let me tell you, my fellow Africans and especially Congolese who are in that place, we should not blame any person because of colonial boundaries or legacy. We were not the people who divided this continent. Africa was divided by other people. So when someone belongs to some place we should not blame that person. So if we still have those wars, I assure you that peace is still far from you. You are still having miles of journey to reach on peace. What we need is one. Gun shall never give us peace. When we go in games of gun, that shall be gunsless. But we need agreement. We need working together as Africans. Go in Sudan. Go in Uganda. As you know, we have a lot of tribes in this continent. In Uganda, we have more than a big number. We have big number of tribes, such as Banyankole, Bachiga, Baganda, Batolo, Bagisu, Bakonjo, Bakalamachong. So who is the owner of that country? Let me tell you that we are all belong to that country. We should not have those conflicts, those misunderstandings. So if we have ideology of thinking that you are the owner of that country, you have poor mind, and that ideology shall never give us development in these countries or states of Africa. Go in Kenya, where I find Bakikuyu think that they are owner of that country. Where I find also the Kalenjin are not sleeping. What should we say about Maasai? Go to South Africa. If Bazulu or Zulu think that they are owner of that country of South Africa, what should we say about other tribes which belongs to that country? Go in Mali, go in Burkina Faso, go in Senegal, go in Morocco, go in Kenya, go in Sudan, go in Tanzania. We are all Africans by color, and it is where we belong. My fellow Africans, no one has sympathy on this continent more than ourselves. If we don't think about how to rebuild ourselves, no one will come to build this continent unless he come to exploit, unless he come for his own benefits. Let me tell you, resources, natural resources of Africa should not be the main or the major causes of misunderstanding in this continent. And especially in most of countries that have labels, you find there are those countries which have resources, natural resources, such as the Republic Democratic of Congo, where you find people cannot think second or twice to kill his fellow Congolese or his fellow Ugandans, his fellow Nigerians, his fellow Burkinabe, his fellow Senegalese. So what is the major causes of that? Why can't we settle and the government give us the good governance about the resources we have in Africa? These resources, it should help us to build our continent. But also it is contributing indirect in destroying of this continent. Let me tell you, we should learn from our ancient leaders. Africans, Pan-Africans still contributed a lot to build this continent, such as Agostino Neto, Ben Bell, Kwame Nkrumah, Kenyatta, Abdul Gamer Nasser of Egypt, and Haile Selassie of Ethiopia, and other Africanists such as Nelson. Why should we learn about them and we see the plant that the seed that they planted in us, and we start from there? Let me tell you, if we don't think about that, we shall learn nothing and forget nothing about these leaders, current leaders of Africa. What's the role of African Union if we cannot provide peace for people who seek peace in this continent? What is the role of states if we can't provide for the citizens that we need? What's the role? What are we doing? What shall we leave for our continent? Let me tell you, in some African countries, you cannot sleep until morning. You have to sleep when eyes are open because of insecurity. What's the major causes of that? Labors. What's the major causes of labors in their continent? What caused a man to leave his family and join bush? We need to revise our leadership governance. I don't fear to stand on that point and say that some of the major causes of that is poor leadership in our continent, in our states. You find people are tired of governance and they decided to against the government. As my fellow Africans, gun shall never give us peace. We need agreement, we need peace talk. We need to see beyond what is the major causes of that and how we can handle Africans' problems. I assure you that no one will come from out of Africa to handle and to give peace Africans unless we rise ourselves, unless we think ourselves how we can provide for our people. Africa is the land of one man with 54 sons. When we add Morocco, that's the 55 sons. If this is our land, East Africa is the land of one man, we should know how to provide for our young brother and elder brothers, father and mother. Young children are victims of leadership of Africa. If someone contributed to give other Africans press, where to explain, rather to speak about their problems, which talking press, such as Kuruma give us Accra Radio to talk about the colonialists, how they are torturing Africans. We got independence from our fellow Africans who contributed a lot. What is your contribution on this continent? As the head of states, what is our contribution? What shall we leave for coming generation? Which seed are we planting? And I normally see, on my view, it is that even the seed of part of ethnic and tribalism, to some extent, it is planted by our politicians who work on their selves, the selfishness or binafsi. Binafsi in Africa, it will not give us peace because everyone is looking for his own. And let me tell you that one man cannot break wood with a tree unless you get the joint hands. No one can carry a basin of water unless you get someone to help you. Let me tell you, this Africa is not belonging to someone. Personally, it is ours as Africans. No one will build Africa unless ourselves as Africans. No one shall eliminate labors in Africa unless ourselves. Let us open mind. Let us think together. Let us build together. Let us think how we can handle Africans' problems and build Africa. Africa for Africans.